Hello, everybody. It's time for the Sol update. You've all been asking for it for a long time, so let's get into it. Cybertruck Crypto, what a handle. Thank you for coming. TND Tesla, Sean D, K8, thank you all for coming. Let's get into the story. The question I get asked is, what's going on with Sol? Are we dead? Have we hit peak? Or will we go higher? Or will we get back to new all-time highs? I'll answer that with data and charts and analysis, and share things that you will not be aware of. Tons of goodness, literally guaranteed. I promise you that. I'm going to make myself small because this is all about the charts. And me, of course, riffing. riffing. Let's see if Solana will rip too. And Sol is the sun. Yes, it appears that way, at least still. Thank you, Krill, and everybody for coming. And this is, of course, not financial advice. And thank you as well to Calvin Marcy. I love the Patreon. Thank you for being there. First of all, I'm going to hide myself. Solana now generates 220% more than ETH and Binance combined. It is crazy, the amount of growth on this chain. And yes, crypto did have a quiet slump at the beginning of the year, but things are coming raging back. We'll share that. And a little fun little imagery. This is ETH versus Sol back in 2023 on the left-hand side of the chart. This is a new form of technical analysis we're experimenting. And today, ETH versus Sol in 2025. I thought this was too cute and too adorable not to share, everybody. Guess which one is Solana and guess which one is ETH? That's up to you guys to decide. And gals, of course. And a fun little number. People are everybody's talking about $1,000 ETH, $1,000 Sol. Will it go to $1,000? Well, if Solana, right, with the market cap of Ethereum at its all-time high matches, that means Solana will go to $1,100. And that's over an 8x from here. So the bull market's not over. Is that possible? Technically, you could argue it is, because right now Solana does way, way more than ETH has ever done, even in the last bull run. And crypto is much more mature and much more money is being generated. So theoretically, it's possible, but we're not here to spread hopium. We'll see, though. Let's get into some of the numbers. And I want to talk about this one thing, too. If you've been following this channel, you know the channel actually began with my third video ever was MicroStrategy trade. And I've been into treasuries for a long time for obvious reasons. I have a lot of the Sol treasury companies and, of course, Bitcoin treasury company MicroStrategy. But I'm going to talk a bit for a second about Solana treasuries, because you do not see Cardano treasury companies, Ethereum treasury companies. You do not see XRP treasury companies. You do not see Tron treasury companies. You just see Bitcoin and Solana. Answer yourself why. Why? If you can answer that, maybe you've unlocked what I figured out back in 2021. Anyway, moving on. Pair trade of the month. Shout out to Mike Novogratz from Galaxy Digital. He swapped 100 million in Ethereum for Solana just a few days ago, which is pretty bonkers. So he gets pair trade of the month for ETH to Sol. As you know, everything is a pair, and I'm big into pair trading. Also, this is another cool chart too. Someone just staked 350,000 Solana, and they will be earning 30,000 Solana per annum. Adam Q, Super Soul Man is here. Thank you for coming. This one's for you, Super Soul Man. But what's crazy about this is they will earn 30,000 Solana by this time next year on this staking amount. And you know, you need about, right now, I calculate about 400 Sol to retire if Solana continues to exist in 2030, 2032. But imagine 30,000 Sol as a staking reward. That's the power of staking. And madness to think in one fell swoop. Also, speaking of staking, we'll talk a bit about staking because that has an impact on price later, and treasuries. And that's what we're talking about, treasuries. Technically, staking is a treasury. And people like Mike Novogratz at Galaxy, they stake their Sol. So we're going to spend a little time on staking. But also, for the first time in history, Solana flips ETH in staking market cap. That is the amount, the value of the amount staked on Solana is higher than that of Ethereum. And I'll reiterate again, TVL for Ethereum includes the amount staked in Ethereum. On Solana, it does not. But that's a big deal. 65% of Solana is now completely staked. And in fact, you'd be a fool not to stake your ETH. Well, you get 2.3%, but you'd be a greater fool if you didn't stake your Solana, getting 8% or more. Bonkers. Anyhow, speaking of that, again, I'm going to reiterate, 336 million Solana are staked. That's 65% of the entire pool. Why do we care about this? Well, I'm working on what I call my IA multiplier for Solana. What happens, everybody? Hey, Jules, what happens if a SOL ETF comes and only 35% of the supply is available to be bought? Then things could go pretty wild. Again, approximately 180 million. CYFRF, SOL Strategies, are looking to buy about 3.5 million. That would be just one little player, one tiny little firm buying 2% of the supply available. Just think about what would happen if an ETF comes. We'll talk about the probabilities of that and how that would spike the price. This is why we care. This is a very different ball game, ladies and gentlemen, compared to the ETH ETF, which has just been a bit of a dud. Piper, good to see you. Now, another crazy news too. Solana dApps, these are the applications built on Solana, have earned more than all other dApps combined on the face of the planet across all other chains combined. You cannot make this up. $2.8 billion earned in 12 months. Again, this is beyond the black hole that I forecasted years ago. It is pretty insane. So congratulations to everybody. And it's still very undervalued right now. We'll get into that in a second too. Hold on. And per Gum, friend of the channel, Ox Gumshoe, Solana will become the home for spot and perp trading. It already pretty much is. But again, this is, we had a bit of a discussion yesterday. Somebody asked me a question. In crypto, is it winner take all, like in some other technologies, or is it winner take most? And I'll answer that. I think it'll be winner take most, because there are dead chains out there that will never die, because people will always have faith in their dead chains. Therefore, they'll always stay loyal to them. Therefore, yes, the winner will take most, like Solana is doing right now with 70% of all transactions in crypto, but other chains will continue to exist. So 8 years from now, you could still see Ghost Chain X, Y, and Z and A all hanging out because they like it. Forrest, thank you for coming. And it looks like everybody's very excited to see a Solana video. So let me know. Solana, by the way, is just shy of $152. And yes, it's way off the all-time highs. But will it recover? I think so. I'll share why in a minute. In other crazy news too, AT&T partners with Solana DePIN solution Helium. AT&T, a massive telco company, leveraging a decentralized network for the first time ever. No, I lied. Second time ever. Helium already works with T-Mobile, but that is big. They're becoming a de facto monopoly. And AT&T is using Helium to shore up gaps that they have in coverage and do a lot more as well. So this is crazy news as well for the Solana blockchain. And Solana stablecoins hit new all-time highs. Ladies and gentlemen, this thing, they keep minting like every day or so, another $250 million of delicious USDC. Madness to think about. At this rate, as I said before, if it continues growing on Solana at this rate, we could have a situation where Tether and USDC Circle's stablecoin could be equal. We'll see if that happens. And as getting back to Treasuries, after all of that interim news, and there's more news to come, I touched on this very briefly in Octa yesterday, but we have so many Solana Treasury firms. We've got Janover, which has just become DeFi Development Corporation. We've got SOL Strategies, CYFRF in the OTC desk, or HODL if you're in Canada. You've got Neptune Digital Assets that have Solana, Bitcoin, and SpaceX. Beautiful little cocktail right there. A company called Upexi I know nothing about. and Sol Global Investments also. And there's probably a bunch more I'm not even aware of. But this is just the beginning of a crazy number of Sol strategies. And I'll repeat again, you only see Bitcoin strategy companies and Solana strategy companies. Why? I don't know. Coincidence? We'll see. Shout out to Leah Wald as well. Marty Party has been on a few spaces with her. They are pulling in a loan facility, another convertible loan, kind of what MicroStrategy did. And we all know what MSTR has done. Best performing stock pretty much since 2020 ever. But they have now got a facility for up to $500 million worth of SOL, which would, by my rough calculations, what would that be? $500 million. 3.33 million SOL, which would be nearly 2% of the supply if they can pull it off. But of course, the price will go up as they start deploying that money. And again, it's all over the news. Sol Strategies $500 million convertible note to expand Sol holdings. And they're working with ATW Partners. And it's the largest of its kind in the Solana ecosystem. For one firm to be able to be in a position to borrow $500 million to stack Sol is huge. And repeating again, this from Gox, Ox Gumshoe. Why is nobody talking about the $500 million of Sol buy pressure coming from Sol Strategies? Solana now has its own micro strategy. And if you saw yesterday's video, it was all about treasuries. The treasuries that are going bonkers. We saw CEP ripping today. In fact, I need to check on CEP because, where is it? I don't know why the stock is doing. Hold on a second. CEP is up another 50% today after just coming from nothing. Anyway, back to the story. That's Sol Strategies. And Janover changed their name too. This is another Sol Strategies company. Again, they are blossoming left, right, and center. They changed the name to DeFi Development Corporation to focus on not only stacking Solana, but also turn on the validator business, which can be incredibly lucrative. Remember, all the money, follow the money, all the money, all the transactions, all the revenue is being generated on one chain. One chain. That's all you need to know. Okay? And DeFi Dev now holds 317,000 SOL. They just bought another 65,300. So the amount of SOL being stacked by these treasury firms, this is why I really care, is insane. Insane. Way more than retail buy pressure could ever do by themselves. So just remember this, okay? Again, I have to stress this. Solana treasuries are going to be absolutely massive. 65% is already staked. It's going to be hard to build a big bag of Solana without prying the supply from stuff that's staked. And that's kind of exciting if you understand supply and demand economics. And coincidentally, the best performers yesterday were all treasuries. This is it's hard, a bit of an eye chart, but I'll just explain to you. I have a watch list of about 300 stocks. 300 stocks. All right. And this does not include things like crypto. It's stocks. Number one, performer yesterday was CEP, which is a Bitcoin treasury. Number two, HODL and CYF. Number three, that's Sol Strategies. Number four, Janover. That is also another Sol Strategies type stacking company. And number five, GNS, a Bitcoin strategy company. And then you have Tempus AI, which is a AI medical pharma company. DJT, no idea what that is. I wouldn't even mention what that is. CoreWeave, kind of like a Bitcoin miner type thing. All of the action yesterday was adjacent to crypto. So I want that to be perfectly clear. This is why treasuries very much matter. Now, let's get into more Solana news before we get into some charts and price predictions, which I know you always love price predictions. Sol ETF is incoming in 2025. The odds now of being approved is about 83%. That's in the bag, ladies and gentlemen. And slashing comes to Solana. This is an important one as well because the Solana Foundation has introduced a new policy to reinforce decentralization. And for every new validator added to its delegation program, 3 will be removed if they have held foundation stake for over 18 months and have less than 1,000 SOL in external stake. And they want to really focus on reliance on the foundation delegation and encourage community supported validators, etc., and really drive decentralization. This will also be supported by FireDancer, which is coming as well. I think 3% of all validators now are running FireDancer too. So that's all happening at the same time. In addition, turn off my little image here. This is a new firm, a Prague venture capital firm, has now launched a $125 million fund focused on dApps, startups, Solana startups that will build yield-generating projects. Very focused on early-stage companies, cementing its commitment to the Solana places called Rockaway Capital. And again, more money, building more dApps. Follow the developers. If you are a developer and you have a hang for building things, try to get money from Rockaway Capital and build your own yield-generating dApp. Also, AI agents are resurging. We've seen AI agents get completely hammered, but boy, are they bouncing back. This is from Solana Daily. A couple of notables are Griffin.com, Okada.ai, and a bunch more. Anyway, they're all very risky, but they are recovering too, and AI is a key narrative as well. And remember, we've seen a real use case of DePIN with cellular communications. It's only a matter of time before we get real, proper, mature use cases of AI agents running on crypto as well. And that'll be an exciting time and exciting to watch. Let's get into the charts and find out where we are, where we've come from, and where we are going. A lot of things you can see in the actual charts. First of all, activity by chain. Solana is still in the lead, 5.6 million daily active users yesterday. Near number 2 at 3.2 million. Tron number 3, 2.4 million. And I want to remind everybody, Near, all those users pretty much use Tron or use Near for shopping coupons from a place called Kaicheng across Asia. Tron is all Tether stablecoin activity. And then number 4 is Sui. Sui, number 4, if you take out Near and Tron because it got very specific use cases and concentration of that activity, Sui is now number 2 if you exclude Near and Tron. And that's very big news. And again, let's all say a quick prayer for the legacy ghost chains, because even if Solana didn't exist, Sui would kill them all anyway. So just bear that in mind. And then you got the layer 2s on Ethereum, etc., etc. So just bear that in mind. And Sol Bitcoin chart is recovering. You can see it went on a huge parabolic move in the last bull run. Then we had the bear market, fell down to the bottom. We never got near that bottom again this time around, which is a very positive sign. You see the piece after the bear market, after the red shadow in the ATR model, the pair was flat, which means that Solana was recovering at the same rate as Bitcoin. Then Solana went on a rampage and went straight up to level 4, level 5. And then it chopped sideways between level 3, level 4, level 5 for basically the whole of 2024. And then it dipped early 2025 because fear of the unlock and other crap like that. And here we are recovering back, and I see us going right back to the same ratios up to level 5 in ATR and even level 6. So it is going to recover. I do believe from here, Bitcoin will do very well, but Solana is the faster horse. And SOL.ETH is up 1,000%. Again, if you're holding Ethereum, it must have been very sad to see Solana run. And that chart represents that. Also, on the profit-taking model, Lilo model, a lot of people ask how high can we go? Right now, the Lilo model is reading level 10 at 421. $421 is in the realm of possibility, but the odds of this are probably less than 20%, less than 10%. But very likely we get back to all-time highs and approximately 300 plus, maybe 360. But I have a different calculation method to show how we get there too, as well, coming up in a second. And Solana dominance, which drives my valuation model, right now Solana dominance is 2.7%, way off the high of just shy of 4%. So we've come down a lot. The red line here on this chart is the 200-day moving average. We're also under that. We've been above that pretty much since 2023, early 2023, but it's dipped below it. So I do expect us to recover above that and get us way back above 3% Solana dominance. But why does this matter? Well, because, before I talk about that, talk about SUI first. SUI versus Solana, this is daily transactions. Solana is doing over 100 million daily transactions. SUI is doing 6.5 million. I will do an update. A lot of people are asking what is the relative value of SOL versus SUI, but they should tell you, yes, SUI is great, but is it as good as Solana? The answer is no. Is it as widely used as Solana? The answer is no. Is it as active a chain as Solana? The answer is no. Does it generate as much revenue as Solana? The answer is no. Okay. And when you look at the actual ratios, Solana is actually cheaper on any metric you take from the 60 different ratios we look at. But that big update will be coming hopefully in a couple of weeks if you want it. And it's good to have both. And Paulie, I have both too. I have a small position in SUI just in case. I always like to hedge my bets. And a little bit of AI targets. Shout out to Sanjay as well. He ran some AI targets for us between Jupiter and SOL. And it came up with a pretty wide range for a 1-year prediction out to, I think it was April 2026. Hard to believe 2026 is not that far away. But it talked about some pretty cool stuff. Like, it's impressive the AI conclusions it can come up to. It says SOL could reach 300 to 500 by April 2026, with some possibilities up to $1,000, but outcomes are uncertain due to market volatility and regulations. Jupiter could hit 85 cents to $2.15 by April 2026. With the recent drops, some concerns about regulation, market fluctuation, etc. But given this, if AI is correct, it appears that Solana is less risky than Jupiter, which I thought was kind of fascinating. Anyway, more on the numbers. Let's talk about crypto market cap and dominance. I rarely talk about dominance, but when it comes to these types of price predictions, it's actually quite helpful. This is the MilkRoad crypto market cap projections. End of 2025, we could have a $10 trillion crypto market cap valuation, of which Bitcoin makes up 4 trillion of that, or 40%. So what they're hinting at here is there will be an alt season. Okay, the L1s will make up 35% of that 10 trillion. That's 3.5 trillion, of which I believe, even though the market cap of ETH is a lot higher than Solana, it's not justified. I do believe Solana could take a big chunk of this. Stablecoins 4.5%, DeFi 7%, which includes things like Jupiter, AI 2.5%, etc. Thank you, Luke, for coming. Better late than never. But the reason this is interesting is if you run your own analysis, okay, if the crypto market cap goes to 10 trillion and SOL dominance is 3%, which is pretty close to where it is now, that takes us to $668. You can take this table that I created. You can pick any crypto market cap on the left. You can say, I see it going to 6.4 trillion or 5.4 trillion or whatever. It's about 3.5 trillion now. And you can pick your Solana dominance across the top all the way up to 10%. So example, if we do go to 10 trillion market cap and SOL dominance goes to 10%, the price of SOL will be $2,228. If it's 5% dominance, it's $1,100, etc., etc. Now, if crypto market cap goes to 10 trillion and SOL dominance goes back to all-time highs, that would take the price of Solana to $891. We'll see if that happens. Thank you, The Great Escape, and Yunka. Thank you for coming. Hope you're enjoying the show. So we don't know where all of this is going to go, but let's get into some conclusions. I'll be here every step of the way. I think Bitcoin is really going to kick off with global liquidity. That will rise all boats, and including crypto market cap. And I do believe SOL dominance will go higher from here as well, back to 4%, maybe even higher again. What about 5%? That would take us to $1,100. Or you can cut that in half. Say crypto market cap only goes to 5.4 trillion, 5% dominance takes us to $600. So way higher, way higher than my bear target of 300, 360. SOLBTC is all that matters. Yes, I agree. And that's exactly how I talk with my allocations. That's exactly how I allocate. So thank you for this. Let's get into the conclusion real quick, everybody. Whoop. I didn't mean that. My fat numbing it. Conclusion time. This is a reminder, by the way. This is from friend of the channel, Mert. The best is about to get a whole lot better. This is a reminder that Solana will be doubling block space, shipping a brand new validator client, adding slashing, and reducing block times. This is the least performant Solana will ever be. I'm going to step out for this. The best chain is about to get a whole lot better. Think about that. Pretty exciting. Anyway, conclusion. Solana is still the dominant chain. DEX volumes are still solid. In fact, they're growing again. Stablecoin TVL is growing very fast, has not stopped. Other chains continue to drain into Solana, looking at the bridging. A new dApp development is off the charts. Another $150 million or more is coming in to fund new development of dApps. 65% of all Solana is staked. ETFs are coming, and they'll come with staking because we now have an SEC that's friendly and logical. Again, I always said for years, I said, what's the point in buying an ETF when there's no staking? It's absolutely stupid. Anyway, the new ETFs will come with staking. SOL Treasuries are exploding a la MicroStrategy. And the 70 Bitcoin Treasury companies right now, there's 5 Solana Treasury companies. A year from now, there could be 50 Solana Treasury companies. It's all happening. And remember, 65% is staked. It's going to be hard to get their hands on a lot of Solana unless, of course, the price goes up and people start taking profits and giving their Solana to these treasury companies. That's what's going to happen. And Solana, sadly, is not the ETH killer. It has already killed ETH. Okay? And I want to say that I'm not dinging ETH at all. And Ethereum isn't dying. It's just not being as widely adopted. And its market cap is simply converging towards that reality. That's all. ETH is not dead. And we saw Base, the layer 2 on ETH. That's crushing it. So with that, everybody, hope you like it. All these videos are turned into podcasts and emails and Substacks. Thank you to the team that does that every single day. And don't forget to subscribe and like. Hope you like the Solana show and the Solana update. Let me know in the comment below if you're bullish or not. Solana just about to hit $152, as I see here. Thanks all for coming. Have a great night. Thank you as well to the mods in the chat. And Krill Nukin, Charles Kim, Forrest, Adam Q, the whole gang, and Sean Donnelly, K8, TND Tesla. I love you all. Have a good night. Bye.